So why are we here today? There's a lot of answers to that question, aren't there? Some might say to eat lunch. Others might say because my partner or friend told me to be. But really, we're here to provide support for an organisation which resources Australians with disabilities, 20% of our population, or 1 in 5. People with disabilities are significantly disadvantaged. 45% of us live in or near poverty. We're employed at a rate 30% lower than the average population. And we're disproportionately highly represented in Australia's prisons. In fact, so much so that prisons have become an alternative accommodation option for people with disabilities. So it's a damn good organisation to support. Able Australia ensures that many of us in the community with disabilities have more control of our lives. So what better way to show some of your support, but to an organisation like that? Now, there are many reasons why people with disabilities should take control of our own lives, but basically they come down to the reality that societies work better if all members are included, and that societies are less functional if there are people excluded from those societies or on the margins of those societies. Now my guide dog story. I'd completed a meeting with some senior bank officials in Brisbane, and walking with my guide dog, not this one here, the previous one, I got into the elevator on the 30th floor of their building at the same time as another person. Now I knew, because I'd come up in that elevator, that the lift buttons weren't marked with raised letters or braille, so I didn't know which one to press to get me to ground. So turning to the other man in the lift, I said, "Could you press the button for ground, please?" I got no response. And thinking that he may have a hearing impairment, I was Disability Discrimination Commissioner at the time, I had to think of those things. I looked directly at him so he could read my lips, and I said a little bit more clearly, "Could you press ground, please?" Still, no response. I was a bit puzzled by this stage, so I reached over and tapped him on the shoulder, and I repeated my request. "Oh," he said, "are you talking to me? I thought you were asking the guide dog." Now my guide dog's good, but she hasn't learned to read lift buttons yet. We won't have a fair and well-functioning community until we include all of its different members. And that's what Able Australia and many other organisations work to achieve. And we won't include everyone until we challenge the negative assumptions that are made about people with disabilities. Now, one of the ways that we might do that, or at least start to do that, is by turning some assumptions upside down. And I want to give you a couple of examples of this. Firstly, I'd like all of you who did not bring your own chair with you today to this function to please stand up. Come on, up you get. Anyone who didn't bring their own chair, please stand up. Now, all of you who are standing up cost Able Australia extra because they had to bring you in a chair. All right, now sit back down on that lovely comfortable chair and enjoy it. Relax into that chair because, that's what Able had to do to cater for your needs. Now, let's just go a little further. There are probably some windows in this room, but can someone who's got some controls here dim the lights? Can we turn the lights completely off? I mean, are you ready to eat your lunch in the dark? Come on, I am. What's your problem? All right, we're not really going to turn the lights off. But finally, let me show you something else. Now, did everyone get that sentence? No? You don't know what I said? Oh, you can't lip read. Okay, so you've cost Able more money to install a public address system in here today. Now, do you see the problem with our society is that all of you able-bodied people are costing us so much extra because of those chairs, those lights and those loudspeakers. I mean, if we could cut out all those extra costs, the economy would be zinging along. Although, on the other hand, perhaps we people here with disabilities should show a little bit more humanity and respect for your difference and your difficulties. I think what we'll do is we'll start a campaign for a national able-bodied insurance scheme. But seriously, whatever those negative assumptions are made, we'll need organisations like Able Australia to challenge those assumptions. So join with me to support Able Australia so that they can keep supporting people with disabilities and challenging assumptions.